Okay, this is a training video for uploading podcasts to the website, and I'm just going to walk you guys through this really quickly. Let's just start from scratch right here and go to the actual site. So if you're on the startanthem.com, granted you would already be provided a username, so we're just going to go to WP admin to get into the WordPress backend. Once you've done your username and login, which would be provided for you, then you'll see the podcast field here. And just so we're kind of measuring up where this is all going once we get to the front of the website. Inside of our website, we have two sections where the podcast comes in. So we have this section, which is like a little teaching widget on the front page. It grabs a background image, grabs the series name as well as the title, who the preacher is, and then a direct link to that actual sermon, as you can see down in the lower left there. It also populates in the teachings panel. So inside of this teachings area, we're going to get same thing, signs and symbols right there, as well as right here. This is a full list of it, so you can continue to see backwards different times and go into each of those sermons, while at the same time we've got a top one here that they can link to all teachings and kind of arrow through on this guy and just see different sermons as we go backwards in time. So now that you know where everything's going, actually really quick, let's look at an actual podcast page. So this is made up of a background image, and this same image gets populated in the front end of the website. So this image is the same image that goes here, and this is called the banner image. So you'll see a field in the back end I'm going to show you in a little bit here, as well as we've got the YouTube video, which is linked in, an audio file, the ability to download that audio file. This is all automated through just a set of fields in the back end. You've got a date, and then also the teacher, which needs to be tagged, and then the actual series, which needs to be tagged. So if we look in the back end here, you'll see that podcast area. So we're going to click into that. And here's our whole list of podcasts. So within the Storyline series where we currently are, normally things get tagged to just one series, like All in the Family, but inside of Storyline it's a little bit different because Storyline is the master, and then we have a sub-series. Right now we're inside of Genesis, so it would be the Promise of Redemption. So if you go into the series section right here, this is where it's all defined, and then that's where that parent category is made. So this is set to be a child of that one. So back inside of this, let's close out some of these guys. Let's say I'm going to make a new sermon. So for this week, I'm currently uploading our video to YouTube. I'm going to bypass this thing for just this portion of time and pretend that we have, this is this week's sermon. So it's called Signs and Symbols. So we're going to go in here, and every sermon on YouTube has a unique number right here. So what I end up doing is I grab this whole entire thing, and I'm going to copy that just first off. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, and then I go into podcast, hit add new, and even though Signs and Symbols is already created, let's just pretend that we're doing it again since we have all the materials for it. So start off with just a name, so Signs and Symbols, and just make sure that this is all matching your YouTube link. So because Signs and Symbols is already created, it's going to underscore that into 2. Then we're going to check both of these boxes, and once the other ones are all within Storyline here, you'll want to make sure that you're checking the appropriate sub-series for it. The podcast file, this is the place where the MP3 is loaded into. These fields are all automatically populated, and then the date recorded one we want to make sure is actually manually handed into it. I also try and go into here in this publish section and make this the same exact date as well. It's just going to help a lot as we search back through time. It's always going to be everything that has to do with this event on the site is going to have to do with that date of February 16th or February 19th, whatever that was. So that's make sure that's right. 19th. Okay, moving on. So we've got a couple fields here. So this area right here is actually manually loaded in so that it'll load discussion questions. So if I put sample content in here and preview this, you're going to see there's a bunch of information obviously missing from this, but gotta wait through it sometimes. All right, there we go. So discussion questions is going to come in. It'll automatically load this above the text, and so it'll just allow that to be a discussion section. We just always knew that these pages, if there's any content in it, which mostly right now we're not doing anything, but if we ever put anything in there, it's always going to happen inside of that discussion questions kind of leader-led area. So usually I leave this blank, and then the podcast file. So I've already got all my media uploaded to the site. There's another video that I'll build to reference how you actually can build out any of those specific things, but as of this point in time, we already have everything loaded into and already uploaded to the site. So here's a storyline week 2 right there. So that's the one from last week. And you're going to see the date stamp, so it's always going to match that date. So 2017 to 19, then the speaker's initials, so you know that this was Buddy. So we're going to select that guy. That loads the podcast file in right there. We've got the date recorded. This is where you're going to change it. By default, it's going to set it to you, so you want to change that over to whoever the speaker was. And then podcast banner image. This is that space where this is loading in whatever that background image is. So for this, I've created all of these images for you through Storyline, and each one is labeled with a number in it. So Storyline 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. So this is Storyline 1. This was already created before I went through and did the other 7. So if I select that image, then it's going to load that in behind. And then here's where that YouTube link is. So if I paste that in there, this shows me what that link should look like. So I usually just copy the whole link, and then I come back in here and grab just this section, copy that, take out just the numbers, and then I'm going to replace it. So it should just be that thing and then just the numbers for the unique identifier for the video. The next move is going to be doing a featured image. So this one is the teaching series image. So when you're creating the material for the website, there's YouTube image and there's teaching image, and each of them are in a little bit different format. The teaching image is 1000 by 1500 pixels and is created specifically to be able to be sized in those different pieces with the overlays and stuff like that. So I'm going to use the one from this week just for kicks, or here actually we can use last week, so we're making a perfect copy. So this is Buddies from last week. So that's loaded in there, and now I'm probably ready to preview. So I can hit my preview button, see how it's all coming out on the back end here, and there it is. So it's got the name, it's tagged up, that's the date, and that's because I haven't published it yet, so this date actually loads from here. So if I probably save draft maybe, and then now I hit preview, then I bet that date will change. Nope. Once I publish it, it will, but this date is loaded in based on a WordPress level, whereas this date has to do with the feed and different iTunes stuff and things like that. So as we go down, we've got that loaded in there. All the branding is going to match, and then you've also got the sermon. So that's it.